Hi, so here's a quick tutorial showcase my ISO rig. First, I want to apologize for my audio quality. I hope that you can understand what I'm saying. When you first open the file, you're gonna see basically this, the rig on the viewport shading mode, Navy, some of the main controllers, the asset browser, and the collections. Only the ISO collection is gonna be enabled, which contains the ISO rig, the geo, and the widgets. But you also can see you have the ISO Sheriff collection and the extra collection. But first, you're gonna check out the rig. So these are the main controllers. If you don't have the bone layer managed, which I use to create the UI, you can just import using the script. You run the script file, you can see the same UI with the same layers and everything set up. But this add-on is free. Also include the link in the readme file, or you can download when you check the post on Gumroad. Here you can go and download is free and very useful to create your own rigs, to edit, to visualize your layers and everything. You can name a fair price or download for free, same as my rig, it's also free. So let me check layer by layer first. In the head layer, you have the main head controller, the neck controller, the head target, and the head pin. You can control the head or move the target. You can control the eyes target like you expect to, or individually. If you scale up and down, you can control the pupils. If you pin the target, you cannot move the main target control, you just move the pin now. And now if you move the head, the eyes, or even the neck, for example, they're always gonna follow the pin, especially if you move the torso. Now, the head, we always gonna point target to the pin. It's very useful. We have some constraints, like now the head's free, it doesn't follow the pin anymore. So if you move the torso, you get a similar effect. We have the main torso controllers, the spines, have secondary controllers with picks, so you can adjust things like the armpits or other parts of the torso. We have the main face controllers. We have the front. You have the main controller for the eyebrows. You have individual controllers for eyebrows. We have the eyelids up and down. We have the blink controller. We have the cheek, nose crease controller, lips, corner, upper. We have a main upper controller, main lower lip controller, and individual ones too. You can move the mouth and adjust the pose. We have the chin and the jaw. If you move up, it kind of affects the position of the mouth. And if you move down, it opens the mouth, but it can lock. So now you can adjust like the chewing effect. Let's have the secondary controllers to fine-tune some of the poses and expressions. You have the hair, nothing crazy, just individual controls for various parts of the hair. Arms, IK, FK, you can just, by default, it sets to IK, but you can just switch. You can see the options to switch by selecting the main hand controller. You can see in the rig properties, or here in the properties panel, you can see independently which bone of the chain you click. So here you only see if you click the main controller, but here you can see independently whatever bone of the chain you click. For both left and right sides. tweaks, just basically like the stretch bones. You can also pin the elbow, so now you're gonna stay pinned to this position. It's very useful when you're trying to make like a character sitting with the elbows on the table or whatever. Individual twist bones. Same goes to the legs, exactly the same as the hands. Like a switch, have the left twist bones, pin bones. Now we have the main finger controls, which I include like these master controls that you can just rotate and affect the other chains of the bones. So but if you want extra control, you can select these bones here, adjust a little bit of the knuckle position or individually each bone of the chain. Then have the cloth controllers, like additional controls for things like the pockets or the straps, the dangles. The collar. I add the earbuds too. I have the weapon target, which you're gonna show a little bit later. I have also the property bones and the main root bones. You can control like the position or just the pelvis and everything. On the property bones, I have two bones. I have the visibility bone, which controls the visibility of some of the modifiers and some of the layers. First, the hair, you can toggle on and off for viewport and render the visibility of the hair. The tape, the earbuds, and these two are controlling the bevels. There's some of the objects I add an additional bevel modifier, and the subdivision modifier, which I add for some of the things like the face. I did not like convert to quads all the model because those models are all optimized for the game itself, so all triangulated, and most of you may try to use the command in Blender to convert the trees automatically, but sometimes Blender messes up the edge flow, so you have to manually fix that. I did that for the face because it's one mesh that actually benefits of having the modifier, but some of these are kind of tricky to do, so I probably do that later with time, like manually fix the edge flow and convert everything to quads. But for now, I think the face, hair are good enough to use the subdivision modifier. So those were the ones I convert to quads. The main property bones control the field of the effects, shader effects on the model. The first is the iris glow. Control the inside iris glow pattern. Then the overall eyes glow, if you want to make like the whole eyeball glowing. Then you have the hand glow, the typical Fresnel glow that happens when user use his abilities. Outfit glow, which also happens when user use one of his abilities. And the overall Fresnel glow, there's a more stylized effects and everything if you want to add. I have the main controllers here. You can also fine tune some of these controllers in the shader, like changing the color and everything. I didn't put them here because I think you kind of add so much stuff here. Most of the time it's not necessary to change in the rig panel. So you can individually change those in the shader editor. Here you can see the controls for the main body. I have the main shader. I add the additional procedural skin detail shader that you can toggle on and off. If you want to like save performance, you toggle everything off and have like just the original normals. But if you add a little bit of quick detail, you can plug all these in and adjust. I feel it's not necessarily realistic, but it's procedural, and I actually created a procedural mask to add some detail to the lips. You can see if I increase or decrease. It's based on the UVs. There's one thing is important, that you use the UVs when you to create procedural textures if you don't bake them, especially for the face, because when you deformate the rig, if you use object or generated, they are not stick to deformation. When you animate, especially when you render, you're gonna see like the texture is moving across the face of the character. So you need to use UVs for that. So that's why I create this. I'm probably gonna do a version using Substance with more detail, but if you want a quick result to add a little bit of extra detail, you can use this one. Regular controls of subsurface scattering, ambient occlusion, adjust the specularity, the roughness, the emission, and the normal strength. This is the default normal strength. For the eyeballs, I have a special shader for each section, one for the sclera, which you can adjust the veins and the bump of the veins, and also this sclera color. The cornea has a driver that toggles the glow. You can change the glow color. You can adjust the reflectivity to create a more stylized effect. Here you can see very well because I'm using a single color as a word, but if you see like Asia eye, you can see like you boost the reflectivity. You can create some more stylized effects to boost the reflections of the eye. Here you can control the overall roughness, the IOR, and the color. And here is the main iris controls. You can adjust the iris color, the color variation, that adds subtle variation of color, and the hue. Can create this kind of heterochromia effect, but I think I need to fine tune that for this shader. You can adjust some of the stylized effects like metallic, the fibers bump, the overall emission, adjust the scale to create this effect. You can also adjust the rotation, also the hair shader. You can adjust like the hair highlights, the primary and secondary highlight colors, the blending of the highlights, the hair strength scale, and the bump, and the overall specularity and roughness, ambient occlusion. You can add the emission mask if you want to, things like that. Okay, these are the main rig. Now you can check the Sheriff. You can see you have the Sheriff model and the Gun Buddie. The Gun Buddie have some custom shaders too for the glass, especially like custom glass. You can add dispersion. You can adjust the rail reflectivity, roughness, and the overall reflectivity. The IR, the glass color, and the reflectivity color, which controls the specular highlights color. You can tint that if you want, independently of the glass color. These are the default textures. The settings to control the Gun Buddie, which is the same shader as the gun. The gun has an additional shader. You control like the emissive VFX. As you can see, you can control the scroll speed, the emissive strength, and rotation and everything. This rig has two constraints that you can toggle by using custom properties that gonna parent them to the parent bone, the target bone, to the left or the right hand. That way you can just easily animate them. Here you can animate the target, or if you move the hand, it follows. And additionally, I add some extras, which are the default contract sprays for ISO. This one, the name spray in the animated one, which is also animated. You can adjust some settings on the shader. It animates, you can adjust the speed, be a little bit faster, slower. The default is on 2, so it's 0.5. As you can see, they are ready on the asset browser, so if you use this, you can just drag into the scene. If you have any questions or any suggestions for this rig, or any feedback, like if you face some issues or some bugs, you can report that for me on Twitter. This is gonna be probably my new standard as for now for the next rigs. If you want, I will finish the Astro rig, then probably I'm gonna finish the Deadlock rig using the similar controls. KO and Yoru are gonna be next. Probably do a version like a more high quality version with all quads, so it's gonna be sub-B ready, and with custom textures that I might use Substance for that. They might add a secondary version similar, which I did for Breach. They have custom textures 4K upscale with custom detail that I add on Substance, that I might do for this rig too and for the other rigs. So let me know if you're interested in that or anything. And that's it.